afm.net.
Every day, AFA offers biblical insight on issues that others aren't willing to touch in the hopes that you'll become a world changer. That's why we're offering an in-depth worldview training course called Activate. 13 different professors teaching 18 sessions, all available online, including a printed workbook to help you apply what you've learned and 1-year access to AFA streaming content to give you even more resources. Find out more about Activate and sign up today at activate.afa.net.
Hello, and welcome to the Dr. Nurse Mama Show. Prescribing hope for healthy families here on American Family Radio. Here's your host, Professor, pediatric nurse practitioner, and Mama of Four, Dr. Jessica Peck.
Well, hey there, friends. And welcome to my favorite time of day, getting to spend time with you, prescribing hope for healthy families. And I know some of you really look forward to this day, although you didn't know it was going to be this day. It is this day. Today is Declutter Diaries Day. Yep, we have our once a month segment where we're helping families declutter. And this has been really transformational for me personally. One of the reasons why we call it Declutter Diaries. This is something I struggle with greatly. And this is not just a stuff issue. This is a heart issue. And one of the things I've been thinking about a lot and thinking about in preparation, knowing that today was going to be our Declutter Diary Day, I've noticed that it's really becoming harder and harder to be content. There is an epidemic of a lack of contentment. If you're anything like me, you've probably had something like this happen. Like you pick up your phone to check the weather, answer a text, and you see a social media notification, and 20 minutes later, you've somehow convinced yourself, oh, I absolutely cannot go another moment without that new water bottle, that organization system, that pair of shoes, that kitchen, the stone. Now it's like the stone dish drying mat that everybody's trying to sell you. You weren't even shopping. You just opened your phone. And before you know it, someone has very, very masterfully planted the idea that what you have isn't quite enough. And this is the world we're raising our families in, and our children aren't the only ones who are being influenced. We are too. Every swipe, every click, every search, it's teaching us something about what really matters. What does success look like? What promises happiness? What I'll be content. Oh, I would be so much happier if I had ... And if we're not careful, our hearts are being shaped less by God's word and more by the endless stream of messages that are coming through our screens. And we have moved beyond an economy that simply sells us products. No more Sears catalog. This is one that is competing for our attention every waking moment. The average American is exposed to thousands of marketing messages every single day. AI is studying our habits, and it's really kind of creepy, honestly. It's more than kind of creepy. It is just plain creepy. It remembers what we clicked yesterday, and maybe not even what we clicked, but just what we lingered over. And it's using that information to predict what we'll want to use, what we'll want tomorrow. And it's doing that by sowing seeds of discontentment. Oh, let's feed that a little. And the result is that many of us aren't making purchasing decisions as much as we're just responding impulsively to carefully engineered invitations because we see these messages of urgency like limited time, almost gone, you deserve this. People like you also looked at, people like you also bought. These messages are designed intentionally to bypass thoughtful stewardship and appeal directly to our emotions. And if we are really honest with ourselves, which I'm inviting you to do with me today, they work. It works. It's effective. And I've been asking myself really thoughtfully, and I hope that you'll ask yourself too, who is discipling my desires? Who is shaping my desires? What forces are they? Because every day, before I've even opened my Bible, someone else is trying to shape what I want, what I long for, what I'm reaching for before my first cup of coffee, honestly, before my phone is already telling me what I'm missing out on, what I should upgrade, what purchase is going to make my life easier, happier, more complete. And these advertisements are giving adults messages of, you don't have enough, you aren't enough, but this could fix it. And we fall prey to that. I know it because I see the reels about, we just had Amazon Prime Day that happened, and all of the reels that happen with wives trying to hide the packages or husbands trying to hide the packages that they get to. And that is a thing. And maybe it's been a thing in my own house too. But that message does stand in direct opposition to the gospel that reminds us in Christ we have everything that we need. And the marketplace is really personal. But here's the thing, the gospel is personal too. But we have to have some effort there. There's not that slick marketing, and we've programmed it to override it, those messages. Now, recent research shows that 92% of Americans admit they've made impulse purchases. Clearly, the other 8% are lying, with the average consumer spending more than $3,000 a year on unplanned buying. And more than 1/3 of Americans say that most of their purchases weren't even planned in advance. And meanwhile, of course, we rail about the American consumer debt that's climbed to more than $18 trillion. Even as many families say, we're struggling to afford groceries and housing and everyday necessities. And sometimes those are really extreme problems. And I know that there are certain circumstances that are excluded from this conversation. But we're not just talking about money problems. We're talking about stewardship and discipleship, because every purchase tells a story about what we believe will make us happy, what we believe will satisfy us, what we believe will give us contentment. And our homes have become really warehouses, storage warehouses for yesterday's impulses. That's what happens. Our closets are full, our garages are overflowing, our storage units multiply, and our anxiety rises alongside that. And we're working longer hours to pay for things that we're really not using, and having less time for the people that we bought them for in the first place. Now, I think parents feel this pressure in very unique ways because we want to give our kids opportunity, every experience, every convenience. Yet somewhere along the way, we're quietly trading margin for maintenance of the stuff that we've now acquired. We spend our weekends organizing said stuff instead of creating memories. And we're buying toys to keep our children entertained when what they really want is just our attention. And that doesn't require any purchase at all. Our kids are watching and they're learning how we spend our money. And scripture never says that possessions are the problem. It's possessions becoming our master. That's the problem. That is the problem. And one of the most countercultural words that we can say is enough. I'm not buying that today. Enough comparison, enough chasing, enough believing that another delivery truck is going to bring you the perfect life. And so today we are talking with Kathy Lipp, best-selling author, speaker, founder of Clutter-Free Academy. You can go to Facebook and you can tell her, send a little message and say, hey, I'm with the Dr. Nurse Mama family. She will let you in. She loves our people. And for years, and now for us, for several months now, she's helped thousands of families untangle the relationship between clutter and spending and contentment and faith, and rediscover the freedom that comes from living with intention rather than impulse. And so today we're going to talk about something called Low by July. It sounds like it's a budgeting exercise, but it really is a reset for your heart, an opportunity. Step off the treadmill of consumption, of consumerism, rediscover gratitude, become a better steward of what God has provided for you, and teach our children that joy is not found in accumulating more, but in appreciate what we've already been given. Kathy, welcome back. I look forward to the revelations that lie ahead today.
This is one of my favorite hours every single month. I just love chatting with you because you so deeply get this. And, I talk to a lot of people who don't say that they don't have a clutter problem. But I also notice, man, they're wearing a lot of new clothes. They've got a lot of new adventures going on. And that's not a judgment. It's just like, wow, you're really good at, putting that someplace where it's not clutter. But I also know we have a lot of closet clutterers out there, people who, it's hidden. And so it may not be as a parent to go into their house and you don't think of them as cluttery people. Some of us are just better at organizing our clutter than others.
That is very true. Some of us are literally closet clutterers, and I tend to do that. You can walk in and everything can look okay on the surface, but boy, oh boy, do not open the closet door. You will take your life into your own hands. It is very true. And Kathy, you know what I was saying earlier? I really have been thinking about this a lot, that our culture is really normalizing consumption as entertainment. We see this
Yeah.
in Amazon influencers and other influencers who really give you a show and feel like they bring you into your family, and they're required to disclose that they earn money from that. And I am not shaming anybody that does that for a living.
No.
Thank you, because there's some times where you really do help me with the solution or give me as a suggestion of something that I really like to wear. But shopping has become therapy. Add to cart is not a good strategy. It's not a good strategy for boredom relief or stress management, or even as a way of expressing our identity. But honestly, I think under all of those purchases, there's something deeper that lies, more than just having the latest kitchen gadget. I couldn't really tell you what it was because I don't really cook. Those don't tempt me, but I know we all have our thing. So let's talk about Low by July. Let's introduce this, Kathy, because many people
Okay.
have heard it. Maybe people haven't heard it. What is it, and how is this unique and different? What is Low by July?
Yeah. So we started off with no by July, but can I tell you, me, along with every other cluttery person, are black and white people,
Can't do
right?
it.
So we knew we had to change when one of my favorite members of the group, Carrie, said, I failed at no by July. And I said, oh, tell me more. She said, I got a nail in my tire and I had to go get that tire replaced. I'm like, oh, Carrie. No, that's not a failure. And so we had to rename it because people can be so mean to themselves.
Oh, that's
And
true.
and she felt like she had to go to confessional. And what I know is that this all or nothing mindset it can play havoc on me. Like, okay, I've already blown it, so I might as well just go ahead and put everything that's in my Amazon cart and just hit send. Yeah, let's do that. Or so we went to low by July because that all or nothing mindset is saying you either pass or fail. And I love long obedience in the same direction. And to say July is the month that we start really paying attention. We start noticing where the leaks are happening and plugging the ones that cause the most clutter, financial stress, or just plain up stress. Because we go into town probably every other week to pick up our packages. And it it is it's been embarrassing a couple of times that I'm like, wait, Roger, what did you order? He's like, I don't remember ordering anything. And so I feel like I'm solving a problem at the moment, but what I'm actually doing oftentimes is causing more of a problem because I have to figure out, where does this go? What are we doing with this? And also, it's Amazon makes it easy to return things, but you actually have to do it. And not everybody's great about that. And I also want to touch on what you said about the influencers really quickly.
Hmm.
The number of people who can get like so excited about a sponge. And
I'm
I
sorry, Kathy,
am
that makes me laugh
obsessed
so
with this
hard because
sponge.
I can see it. It's true.
Right? Right? Whenever somebody says I'm obsessed, I'm like, you're overselling. Because I have found sponges I like. I have two sponges that I use, but I have never been obsessed with a sponge. And so
I
what
cannot
what
stop
they're
laughing.
doing what they're doing is saying, hey, Jessica, you have a real problem. You don't like doing the dishes, but if I sell you this sponge, you're going to start liking doing the dishes. And there is no sponge that's going to make that happen. Dishes are a necessity. They're not something I really enjoy. I do them because I want a peaceful kitchen. And so, but the promise of you're not even going to notice the dishes anymore because you've got this sponge. And so low by July is just, I'm going to take a breath. I'm not going to order anything. If that sponge really will change my life, it will also change my life in August. But I don't have to order it in July. I'm just going to take a deep pause, take a deep breath, and say, because what influencers are doing, and by the way, I consider myself an influencer. I have sold things online. I want to influence people to declutter. I want to use my influence to improve people's lives. So this, like you, I am not judging anybody unless you tell me that sponge is going to change my life. But
well, you know what? But hold that thought, Kathy, because we're already at our first break. But when we come back, we'll talk about that more, because you have got my brain spinning about influencers, about opening packages that we don't even know what's inside, and that promise, that overselling promise that we're buying. Oh, lots more to talk about with Kathy Lipp. We'll be right back.
The crucial midterm elections are coming. AFA Action, the Government Affairs Division of American Family Association, needs your opinion on the role of Christian voters. You can do this by taking the Christian Voters in 2026 survey on the AFA Action website at afaaction.net. That's afaaction.net. In November, America will choose between continuing to return government to biblical values or turning away from these values. We could even lose the U.S. Supreme Court. We could see Trump administration officials impeached by a left-wing Congress. We could see doors for righteous government continue to open, or they could quickly close. As we approach this election, we want to know your opinion. So please take the Christian Voters in 2026 survey at afaaction.net. You will also have an opportunity to make a gift to advance AFA Action's mission of equipping Christians to make a difference. Go to afaaction.net. That's afaaction.net.
Okay, here's an assignment for you, if you will. I want you to take some time and think about a getaway that gives you a chance to get together with other people of faith, deepen your walk with God, and make new friends, all while enjoying the Creation Museum and the Ark Encounter in Kentucky. I'm talking about joining AFA at the Ark, October 29th and 30th. This is a great opportunity to break away from the grind of everyday life and draw closer to God through special presentations from Patricia Engler and Brian Osborne of Answers in Genesis. It also includes entrance to the Creation Museum on Thursday and the Ark Encounter on Friday. Friday's dinner includes a panel discussion with Tony Vitagliano, Walker Wildman, and Wesley Wildman, Vice Presidents of American Family Association. This is an event that can fill up quickly, so hurry to afa.net/events to register for AFA at the Ark 2026. afa.net/events, and we'll see you at the Ark.
This is John MacArthur inviting you to join me for Portraits of Grace. What do you think your trials teach you? Well, many believe trials teach you patience or how to trust God, and that's right. Yet, once you're in heaven, you won't need patience, and you'll trust God because you'll be with Him. So what's the long-term purpose of trials? Well, simply this. What you suffer now is directly related to your ability to glorify God in eternity. You see, worshiping God will be our role in heaven. And the Apostle Paul reminds us that if we endure our suffering here, we will reign with Him. In other words, as you learn to endure trials now, you can expect to receive great reward in eternity. And that reward is primarily the capacity to glorify God. What a privilege.
Even though I walk through the valley, sometimes it feels like I crawl through the valley. But I got a promise that I hold on tight to. I can't lose when I'm right beside you. Yeah, gotta know the plans you have for me when my cup is overflowing. So while I'm in the in-between, I'ma live my life knowing if I get down, you pick me up from the ground. You give me love that don't give out, giving no conditions. You lift me up and up again now.
Welcome back, friends. That is Up and Up by Colton Dixon. And no matter which direction your day is going, I hope it goes up, at least for the rest of this hour, because we are here to lift you up in another episode of what we call the Declutter Diaries. We are talking about the heart issues that run through America right now, as we're talking about things like overconsumption and discontentment and all of those things that cause us to buy things and pile things up in our house and then argue with our families about all of the things that are laying around. And you bought something for your kids and now they're not taking care of it. And my closet is overflowing onto my husband's side, or your husband's garage is overflowing. Whatever it is that you're fighting about, it's more than just stuff. And today we're talking with Kathy Lipp about Low by July. You can find her Clutter-Free Academy on Facebook. It's free. You can get in there, just send a little message, say that you're from the Dr. Nurse Mama family. She loves our people. She will let you in. And Kathy, we were just about to pull some really good threads out of the conversation, what we're talking about. You've introduced Low by July, which is a challenge for a reset. This is such a great time. And Kathy, you're about to make me so happy here, because I feel like I'm even legitimized in saying this. July is a great time to already get ready for Christmas. Would you agree? We have time now to look at our budget and save some money now for Christmas. Am I wrong?
No, you are not wrong. And if you know how you're going into December, July can affect that. You can not only start to save that money, but really start to set that mindset of because I know I can tend to overbuy for my people, because I love them and I want to do delightful things. But this is also a good time to communicate what Christmas is going to look like, especially if you have adult children or older children. July last year is when I said, hey, I love doing the stockings, but I've got long COVID. That's not happening. So everybody in our family did about a $5 gift for the stockings, and everybody agreed that's the best thing we've ever done. And so, but you can't tell people that at Thanksgiving, right? So you set the intention now. People have almost half of the year to wrap their brains around it. It's good.
I love it. I love anytime I can bring up Christmas. I know you after Thanksgiving people just put up with me, but thank you from the bottom of my heart for doing that. I appreciate it. And let's go back, Kathy, to talking about some of those influences that keep us from doing that. We all have that best intention. We all think, yeah, I want to do that. But there are influencers at work who are really, really good at their job. And sometimes that can be a helpful thing. And sometimes, if we're really honest, that can be a hurtful thing and a thing that trips us up. And you were talking, I really can't stop laughing because you're so right. How many reels do we see where people are, I'm obsessed. And then you hear the clicky sound, like, oh, look at this. Like, whoever decided that's how we do it. Like, put it up against your hand and, oh, you need to have it. Click the link. It's going to sell out. You've got to buy it now. All of these things. And we're talking about, like you said, a dish sponge. But what you just said, that was the revelation. I knew it would come. But honestly, that's the revelation, because we're buying a promise like, oh, if I buy that, I won't mind doing the dishes. And I'm with you, Kathy. There's nothing that's going to make me like doing dishes. I love doing laundry. No. Dishes.
Yep.
How do we really guard our hearts from being subject to that? Because it's not a conscious thought. We don't think that. Like, I didn't think about that now. How do we implement that in Low by July? How can we become more aware of that?
I think, and here we are already a week into July. So if you're like, well, I can't have a Low by July now because July's already started, I would encourage you to just do a week of resetting, a week of, I took Amazon off my phone. I have a couple of apps that they know what I'm looking for, when I'm looking for it. And by the way, if you are buying on impulse, can I give you a little comfort here? It's not just a thought process, it's an entire industry socially engineering you to purchase. So and they've got decades of research on this. They are playing off your scarcity mentality. If I don't click the link now, they're probably, I mean, this is what Home Shopping Network is built on. You know, if you don't click now, you're not going to get this. And so Instagram has taken those lessons and said, oh, we're going to make sure that you know that this is running out. Or, 20 other people are looking at this item right now. And it's like, oh, that it reaffirms, oh, I have good taste. Oh, it reaffirms that it's worth splurging on this because I don't know if I can get it next month. Here's the thing, you can always get almost everything next month. There is nothing truly that special, that revolutionary that you're not, I mean, unless we're talking Taylor Swift tickets, you're going to be able to get the thing you want at another time. And so to be able to sit with that and say, I I'm going to step back from that pressure right now, take a moment to breathe, because if you had to wait 48 hours for everything that you were tempted to buy, you probably would not buy 90% of it. It's not everything, but it's a lot of things.
That is so true. All of those things. And really what they do, Kathy, is they're giving you little hits of dopamine. Like, oh, I scored this
Right.
great deal, oh, I saved so much money. Oh, I got it,
Mhm.
even when it was running out, or oh, I'm one of the few, or I have good taste, or those kinds of things. And really
Mhm.
we're talking about dopamine, and that is a brain chemical that's linked to anticipation, motivation, reward. And the truth is
Mhm.
that marketing companies have learned how to use that. And they use that
Yes.
by creating moments. We were just talking about this during the break, that make us expect something good, a sale countdown, or the limited time offer, or a surprise discount.
Mhm.
Like, oh, you're looking at something, oh, all of a sudden, come back, get it. We'll give it to you for 20% off. Or, there's something new that's there, or you get a higher status in their brand. I mean, it is
Mhm.
all, like you said, socially engineered. And when we see these cues, our brain does release dopamine, other feel good chemicals, but primarily dopamine, which makes us feel curious. It makes you excited. It makes you
Yeah.
motivated to act. And often it spikes before we get the reward, it spikes in the
Mhm.
anticipation. And so that's why marketing focuses so much on teasers and, like you said, scarcity, novelty, small rewards, all of those kinds of things, because they keep our brain engaged and make you more likely to come back or click for more. And that extends into getting the package. And I shared with you, Kathy,
Yeah.
that the other day my son brought to me a package and said, hey, we got this on the porch. What is it? And I was like, I don't know. And he said, you don't know what you ordered? I was like, no. And I mean, we don't have really long shipping here, so I couldn't have
Right.
ordered. It's not like I ordered it 6 weeks ago. I probably ordered it in the last 24 to 48 hours. And then I thought, if I am not out there waiting and watching for it, then do I really need it? Am I really that
Yeah.
excited about it? But then when you open it up, you get another hit of dopamine. Like, oh, it's like you just gave yourself
Right.
a present twice. How do we resist
Yes.
that, Kathy? What have you
Oh,
found?
let's go to the mentality again, right? So if you don't know what you ordered, it was probably not a true need or want. It was a manufactured need or want. It was something that they said, hey, you've got this hole in your life. We've got the thing to put in that hole for your life. We're going to make sure that you're fulfilled. And so it's that book you'd never heard of before, but it sounded intriguing to you. It's the new style of water cup that you have 15 water cups, but this new one, it has the retractable straw. So that's going to make me drink more water, right?
Right.
It's this supplement for an ailment I didn't even know I had. And so what they're doing, when we can say, is this a true need or is this a manufactured need? And again, if we can build in that pause, and I think I don't want to suggest this in a controlling way. But if you have a healthy relationship in your life, whether it's a marriage or a best friend, or maybe even a teenager or young adult child, that you say, you know what? I realize I am just too impulsive. And so I'm going to give you access to my Amazon account, my J. Jill account, my whatever the account is. And not for you to be punishing, but just so somebody knows. I know that at some point you can go in there and ask me about my purchases and just say, hey, I'm just curious, what led you to get this? And it has to be somebody who is not controlling and who isn't going to be punishing, but just somebody that you respect, that you don't want to say, yeah, well, let me tell you why I got the bunny slippers, because I didn't know I needed bunny slippers, but they promised I'd be able to sleep better if I wore them in the evening. Like, these are the things, these are the claims people are making. They're just as ridiculous as that.
Well, Kathy, you've helped thousands of people in your Clutter Free Academy. What do you see, boots on the ground, your experience as the biggest emotional and situational triggers that cause us to spend unnecessarily? You talked about that manufactured need, and I think that's a great starting point. Is this something I really need, or is this a need that's just been sold to me? Like, I was actually content until I knew that there was this solution there. But what are some of the other emotional and situational triggers that can make us more prone to buy something that we just don't need?
So I think that there is fear that people are going to look at me differently if I don't dress a certain way. And guys, none of us are saying to ourselves, if I don't dress a certain way, people are going to look down on me. But uh, maybe you are saying, you know what? I think uh, my old sweatshirt from last year doesn't look as cute as this one. And I want to be seen as somebody who takes good care of themselves. I want to be seen, like, it's this fear of being left out that can often drive us to buy. And it's so insidious, we don't even know that. Guilt. If I get my kids these arm floaties, which they already have arm floaties, but I think these are going to be a little bit better, then I will be perceived, or I will perceive myself as a better mom. And then shame. I don't want to be looked at as cheap. I don't want to be looked at as unthoughtful. So that will drive us to buy. But I think there's another one. I don't consider myself somebody who gets bored easily. Like, I love to read. I love to watch TV. I love to write. I have so many things, but some of those things when I'm tired are hard. I can't pay attention to the book or whatever. So the easiest thing to do is scroll. And boredom is a great inducer to spend, because what you were talking about before, and I don't understand the science like you do, but I know what a dopamine hit feels like. I know that deeply. And to be able to say, oh, right in that moment, I got the sale, it's 55% off. It was never 100% ever. But I'm able to combat that boredom, because sometimes we're not great about being left alone with our own thoughts. And if we're in a stressful situation, that can de-stress us really, really quickly.
Those are all such great observations. I think the most important thing you said, Kathy, was talking about how insidious it was. That was the word you used. And I agree, because the world is moving at the speed of a smartphone. We are not stopping to analyze our behavior, our thoughts, the path from, entry into being exposed to an ad and then buying it. But we are certainly, like you said, what it feels like. You know what it feels like to do that. And that's what marketing companies, though, they are spending money. They're hiring psychologists. They are investing everything in their business strategy to get your thumb to move faster than the prefrontal cortex in your brain, which is your logic, your spending, your executive decision and decision making. And honestly, Kathy, as you were talking about it, it reminds me of a trend actually that's really popular right now that I may or may not have used on my husband a few times already, because we talk about it like it's humorous. But this kind of talks about what we're talking about. It's girl math. Now, I don't know if you've heard girl math. Yeah.
Yeah, I posted about it today.
No way. Are you serious?
I did. I said that meal is free because I already had all the ingredients. Girl math,
Oh,
right?
that's a good spin on it.
Yes, yes. I'm already using what I have, so the meal is free. Or I returned these 3 packages to Amazon that totaled $74, but I bought this shirt at $32. So girl math, I just earned $42.
Oh my goodness. Okay, we're going to have to come back to this when we come back, because I think that is culture's humorous way of providing its own commentary and saying, hey, here's the trends that are going on, and here's the good part about it, and here's what's really bad that we're just trying to cope with humor. But living with less isn't about punishment. When we come back, I want to talk about how do we frame this to our families, because I grew up in a family that was constantly guilted about money. I don't want to do that. How do we present it as opportunity and not limitation? We'll be right back with more.
If we lose this cultural war, we're going to have a hedonistic, humanistic society.
Discover the story of the culture warrior Don Wildman and how he went head-to-head with Hollywood, Playboy, the homosexual agenda, and the Disney empire. The movement Don started paved the way for Christians to boldly stand for truth and righteousness in a hostile culture. Watch Culture Warrior today for free. Visit culturewarrior.movie.
AFA Action takes attacks on the family seriously. The enemies of the family constantly employ new tactics to try to sneak past our radar. They know if we stand together, their evil plans will fail. Your gift to AFA Action allows us to stay vigilant against their onslaught. And if you give this month, you'll receive access to the Cultural Institute video, When Your Faith is Illegal, by Frank Harbor on AFA Stream as our thanks. You can make your gift today at afaaction.net.
Hey, I'm Brant, and her name is Sherry.
Hello.
She's a friend of mine whom we were just praying for because of a surgery she just went through.
Yes, and I am very happy about something you actually talk about all the time, which is
Medishare.
That is right.
Yeah. So what was your experience like with Medishare and the healthcare bills?
Honestly, Brant, seamless. And what a blessing that is when you're already nervous about a health issue, which I was.
Yeah.
Members shared my expenses. There were 0 problems. And let me tell you, having people pray with you when you call in with your need, that is just...
It is refreshing.
Yes, that's what it is.
That's what I keep telling people. People love Medishare, and they love saving tons of money, too. The typical family can save $500 a month.
I am very thankful for Medishare. It is so different, and I mean different in a very, very good way.
It is good different. Call now. They're easy to talk to, and you can get a price within 2 minutes. Call 833-44-BIBLE. That's 833-44-BIBLE. 833-44-BIBLE.
Hi, I'm Jan Harper. If you're a pastor's wife, you know both the blessings and the unique challenges that come with the life you and your husband live daily. We call it living in the fishbowl.
Details have been announced for the 2026 Pastors and Wives Fishbowl Retreat. Once again, this year's retreat will be at Pickwick Landing State Park in Counce, Tennessee. From October 20th through the 22nd, pastors and their wives will enjoy rest, renewal, and fellowship, hosted by Pastor Bert Harper, Director of Marriage, Family, and Pastoral Ministries at AFA and co-host of Exploring the Word on AFR, and his wife, Jan. Our special speaker will be J.J. Jasper of AFR. Your registration fee covers lodging, meals, and materials. All you need to do is get there. The annual AFA Pastors and Wives Fishbowl Retreat, October 20th through 22nd. Learn more and register at repairingthefoundations.net.
We'd love to see you there.
Look what you've done. How could you fall so far? You should be ashamed of yourself. So I was ashamed of myself. The lies I believed, they got some roots, they run deep. I let them take a hold of my life. I let them take control of my life. Standing in your presence, Lord, I can feel you digging all the roots up. I feel you healing all my wounds up. All I can say is hallelujah. Look what you've done. Look
Welcome back, friends. That is Look What You've Done by Tasha Layton. And if you've been following along on our Declutter Diaries journey, I hope that you can turn around and say, look what God has done in your life, because clutter is never just about stuff. There are heart issues that go along with that. Sometimes it can be childhood trauma or trauma that we've experienced that causes us to hold on to things. Sometimes it can be fears. It can be just boredom. It can be just apathy. It can be all kinds of things. But there are heart issues behind clutter, and clutter impacts relationships. And that's why we're talking to Kathy Lipp, decluttering expert, on our series Declutter Diaries. And today we're talking about Low by July. Now, this is a great month. We're halfway through the year. A lot of families feel financial pressure around Christmas time. We've talked about how it's a great time now to stop and make some decisions that will better position you to be able to do what you want to do for those people you love, whether that's $1 or $5 or something extravagant, whatever it is. What are the opportunities you're giving away now for those opportunities that you have? We've also talked about some triggers and the marketing machines that are against us, and how we don't even think about the pressures that are against us, but marketing forces are thinking about those 24/7 and trying to manufacture problems so they can sell you a solution. That is definitely happening. And right before the break, we were talking about girl math. Now, this is a funny trend. It's an internet trend. And so for those of you who are saying, wait, what is this? Let me explain. Let me back up and explain. It's a joke. It's a cultural commentary that describes the creative ways that people, and this is often women in memes, I will say it, justify spending money. It's not actual math. It's not financial advice. It's just a playful way to rationalize your purchase. So for example, you say, if I paid with cash, it's basically free because nothing came out of my bank account. Or if I spend $5 more, I get free shipping. So I saved this money. Or just like Kathy had given an example. Or if I return something for store credit, anything that I buy with that credit is free because I'm not paying anything. Or if I wear this $200 dress 20 times, it only costs me $10 per wear. That's really cheap. It just is highlighting a common human tendency that we use mental shortcuts to justify spending, to make it a little easier, to make it feel more justifiable. And it is funny. It is funny. But it also illustrates how our emotions and how our perceptions are influencing our financial decisions more than objective budgeting. And once again, if you go to Kathy Lipp's Clutter-Free Academy, she has a lot of really practical starter steps for this is how you can really implement Low by July. But really, Kathy and I today are talking about the heart reset behind it. And Kathy, one of the things that I want to make sure we leave time for, so I'm going to lead with this, is that concept of not spending as guilt, as punishment. And I did grow up in a house that we lived paycheck to paycheck, and we did not have very much money. And it was always, this is how much this costs, or don't spend this, or this is, like it just, I always felt guilty about asking for money or spending for money. There was just a constant commentary about, how much I cost, like how much my living costs. But then I feel like we swung the pendulum too far the other way. And now kids have no idea what things cost because we just give them to them and it doesn't matter. How do we balance a healthy awareness in the middle and present this as a family opportunity for stewardship rather than a guilt about spending or a guilt about, I had no idea how much you were spending on me?
Yeah, Jessica, you bring up such a critical point. And I want to illustrate this we have a paid coaching group for decluttering. These are people that clutter has really interfered with their lives, and they pay me to coach them. And we had probably 20 people on a call this past Monday, and we just got onto the subject of how you grew up. And I said, how many of you grew up with some pretty severe restrictions on spending, whether it was because your family just didn't have the finances or they just didn't want to spend the money? And out of 20 people, 18 raised their hands. Now, that's not scientific, but it definitely is an indication that the more that we say, we can't afford that, we can't do it, you have to be able to explain the situation. And when I asked, did anybody's parents explain why we couldn't have these things? No. So if you if you would love to buy those things for your kids, but you can't afford them, then you need to have that discussion and say, that is not a luxury that we can indulge in right now. Some of the things we could do, maybe we could, depending on what it is, we could save up for it. You could work some jobs for it, et cetera, et cetera. Or if you just as a family say, this is not a value we hold, and let me explain why. But to just say, you can't have it, you can't have it, you can't have it, no, 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 with no reasoning behind it, I have seen the other end of that, and that's my paid membership. It's this kickback of saying, well, I couldn't afford it then, I can afford it now. But it comes out in very unhealthy ways. It comes out in, I'm not going to buy the shirt that I wanted as a kid, but I'm going to buy 10 cheap shirts because I want to have choice and I want to have access. And so this is not to make anybody to feel guilty. It's just to say, support your reasoning so that people understand. It's really important that our kids understand what the finances of our family, and it can be as detailed or as undetailed as you need it to be, but it's important to understand that they have a basic understanding of why your family lives the way it does.
I think there are a lot of families who have kids who really don't have any conception of how much things cost and the value of a dollar. And I know I saw all of my kids who are now young adults, when they started, as pretty much everybody does, in a minimum wage job, and they start earning their first paycheck, they start to recognize the value of a dollar really quick. I remember taking my daughter shopping one year, and I had bought her a couple of things. And the next year we went back and we were shopping in the same store. But this time I gave her money and I said, this is on you. Here's your budget. Here's what you have to spend. You can, buy whatever you'd like within this budget. She comes up to me, Kathy, and she says, Mom, the prices in this store have gone up so much in the last year. Like, this is expensive. And I looked at her and I said, now this is pre-COVID, Kathy. So I said, oh, honey, no, the prices haven't gone up at all. This is the difference between your money and my money. So I would love to hear some more practical things. How can we embrace this as a family, stewardship, and even like make it fun? Because we know that marketing forces gamify things against us. How can we gamify things like Low by July or make it fun?
Such a great question. So for the person who helped create Clutter Free Academy with me, her name's Tanya. She has younger kids. And so we talked about how do we do this? So what they would do every year is they have a birthday and a big event in July that they didn't want to skimp on. But otherwise they stayed home. And instead of like, okay, we're having mom's meatloaf again, which God bless you, Mom, for making the meatloaf. I'm so impressed. But it's like, okay, we're going to do cooking lessons in July. That's what we're going to do. So we're going to cook at home. We're going to play freezer bingo. And so somebody would grab something out of the freezer and then they would put other ingredients with it. So 4 other ingredients to make a bingo. And so then they would cook that. She would do every day that they didn't spend something except on some, the mortgage, the utility bill, but they didn't spend any extra money besides those core things and gas. They would put $10 into a jar and they were saving up for a family activity. So there are so many ways you can do this. And it's like, and I think parents would get so much relief not hearing every single day, I want, because that'll drive you to an early grave. So that's one thing to think through. So it's not a punishment. It is a chart for wins as a family. I think another thing to do now, I was very fortunate. My birthday was in June growing up. So if I wanted something, it was either going on the birthday list or the Christmas list. But I don't know that kids grow up with those lists anymore. And my brother was December 20th, so we had to do a half birthday for him. You can be creative, but those running lists of there's something about waiting for something, because we've all given our kids something that they really, really wanted, and they were underwhelmed because the excitement about it wasn't there because they got it instantly. So having those lists instead of an instant no, saying, hey, let's put that on the birthday list, or grandma always wonders what to get you for Christmas, and they feel like Christmas is so far away. It's really not. And then model the pause out loud. Let's think of, if you've given your daughter, say, $200 for school clothes, which would be a very generous allowance, and she's going to put the self pause in there because she doesn't want to run out of that money right away. But sometimes we need to build the pause in for our kids. If it's not an absolute yes, let's wait on it. And if you come back to it in a few days and you're like, oh, that's still something I really want, then maybe that's what you do. But putting the pause in to say, hey, this is a scouting trip for school clothes. This isn't the buying trip.
Those are all such great ideas, Kathy. And that's why I love the term, even low by July, or if you want to do no by July, but low by July, because that's a great catchphrase once you explain it to your family the first time and say, hey kids, we're going to participate in something called low by July, and we're going to try to see how much money we can save. And maybe you even incentivize them and say, for every dollar that we save, we'll put 10 cents in a fund or whatever it is, your vacation fund, or maybe that's some special thing that you're saving up for. But I think some ways that you can incentivize it, instead of saying, nope, remember, this is the month we aren't spending money. Nope, remember, we agreed. We're not going to buy anything. It's just, hey, remember, low by July. We're all in on the challenge. I think that's so good. And what you hit on eating out is a challenge that faces every family. And I think if families would go back and look at their credit card, I know, I get a report from my credit card and I see how much money you spend on eating out. And you kind of think, oh, it's not that much. It's just here or there. It's $6 or $7 here or there, or, just that's for one person. But of course, for families, the cost of food has gone up so much. So something like a cooking class is a great idea. That is such a fun way to engage. And I think the gift that you're going to give your kids in those kinds of things is the gift of your time. So instead of driving out somewhere, somebody picks it up and comes and throws the food on the counter, which some nights you got to do that to survive.
Right, absolutely.
But imagine all those memories that you'd create, saying, we're going to eat around the world. One thing we've done actually this summer, Kathy, is we have had food that's themed to the World Cup. Now, I'm not a soccer fan. I don't know anything about soccer. I could care less. But we had chicken and waffles the other night when U.S. and Belgium played. And my son made chicken and waffles. And it was so fun. And we had this food fusion. And nobody asked me to go out, which was great.
What you're doing is you're creating special occasions. And you're saying, hey, this is worth investing in, but we're going to invest in it with our time and creativity. That's why, before you go out and you buy new craft items, can we search around the house for things that we thought we wanted in the moment and we never got to? Can we bust out those puzzles that we got we were so excited to get at Christmas, but we haven't had time for? And I love what you're doing. You're creating intentional space around something that you and I are probably not going to see in our lifetimes again here in the United States. You may, I may not. We don't know. But to be able to say, hey, this is the way we're going to, and your kids are going to remember to do that with their kids someday.
Oh,
because
Kathy, you always encourage me, and we run out of time again. Well, this is until next time. You'll be back next month we'll have another episode where we'll talk more. But this has been so convicting and so encouraging. And I encourage you to consider, what are ways that you can engage in Low by July? Maybe you have all the money in the world, but you could divert your money to something. Maybe you're going to sponsor a kid or give money to a charitable cause. There are so many things that you can do as a family. If you want to know more, go to Facebook, find Kathy Lips Clutter-Free Academy. That's your entry, message her. Tell her you're with me. She'll let you in. And wherever you are in a clutter journey, I pray the Lord will bless you and keep you and make his face to shine on you. I'll see you next time.